solo bolt action. It's a while since I've played bolt action, so bear with me. Well, I might need to check the rules now and again. I did used to play quite a lot back in the day as Doggo, my opponent, or Henry the Hoover. Not sure which one gives me more grief, quite frankly. Right, so those who have no idea what bolt action is, it's a World War II. It's fairly World War II war game, fairly Hollywood kind of action, as it's often described. A lot of lucky shots and things like that, and heroic actions and whatever. I love it. It's a great game. Chain of Command is another great game. That's more tactical, and I like that game for that reason. But still like bolt action. These sheets here are printed off from something called Easy Army, and they are. It's a army list builder, and gives you rules as well for the special rules units have and armies have as well, which I'll go through as the game goes on, I think. I do have the army books on hand as well. They're actually in my bedroom, and I've got the rule book handy. No, I don't. I've left it. I've left it on, not on the loo, but I was reading it on the loo a few months ago. Right. The dog's whimpering because he thinks I'm talking to him, but sadly no. So yeah, bolt action. What are these dice then? Yeah, each unit has a dice, and you put all the dice into this bag. You can see it's empty now in there. And to activate a unit, you draw dice out of the bag. So it's a random activation. It's not exactly you go, I go. Which again, I enjoy. I've played 40k using that system many moons ago, and it worked quite well. I enjoyed that. So yeah, perhaps give that a go as well. Plenty of regular dice as well for shooting stuff. So a quick overview of the armies. Germans and Russians. This is more late war, probably 1944, because both sides are veteran. Every unit is veteran. You can have 3 different classes of unit: inexperienced, regular, and veteran, and it affects the morale saves and shooting and stuff like that. The only exception is these guys here, these 12 Russian infantrymen. They are inexperienced, and they're actually free. You don't pay any points for them for the Russian army. It's to what's the word I'm looking for? Essentially, Russian armies had a lot of men, so that's what that symbolises basically. And the Germans have better light machine guns, so they get extra shots, and better NCOs as well. If one of the sergeants dies, there's a possibility that somebody else can take over the squad. And yeah, so the Germans have got a senior lieutenant and a Luftwaffe or air observer, a Puma armoured car, and a Panzer IV, regular Panzer IV, no shirts and skirts, and 2 squads of Heer infantry, all veteran, like I say. And the Russians have a senior lieutenant. They have an artillery observer, so that's different to the air observer, and the Russians have better artillery, technically, although it very rarely it works for me. A medium machine gun. It's got a shield on the front, which saves the crew a little bit better. A light mortar. There's a T-34-85 at the back there. So that's got a hell of a good. What is the anti-tank? What kind of gun is it? It's a heavy anti-tank gun. Whereas the Panzer IV, I believe, oh no, the Panzer IV is a heavy anti-tank gun as well. So they both got the same kind of gun, similar armour as well, I think. So that should be a good matchup. Like I say, the inexperienced rifle squad, they've all got rifles. Then you have a veteran infantry squad with submachine guns. Sometimes play these as guards, but I've just got them as veterans today. The guy that points, yep, he's a sergeant. And here is another infantry squad. I might have one too many riflemen in that squad. I'll just double check. Yeah, I've got one too many riflemen, so I'll take this guy out. Yeah, so it's a 10-man squad overall. There's a sergeant there. The guy who's standing up in that squad is the sergeant. Yeah, two small forces, 1,004 points for the Soviets and 1,001 points for the Germans. Yeah, I shall crack on. So, pop back to the bog to get the rulebook. The scenario I'm going to play is just scenario number 1, no man's land. Each force can split in 2. There is a first wave that starts the battle in the first turn, and then other units come on as reserves. If you come on the first turn, you don't have to roll a morale check to come on, but if you're a reserve, then in later turns you do have to roll to see if you come on or not. The table is 6x4. I might shut it down to 4x4 because of the size of the forces, or even just a rough, maybe where these two woodlands are, a straight line across, and then you just use this side of the table, I think. I've got dice for rolling stuff. And I do somewhere. Good old spare ice cream tub full of dice. Alright. I'll get out my lucky yellow dice. Not always lucky. Just when I'm playing dickheads, it seems to be. I call these my karma dice. Someone once accused me of cheating with these dice, even though I've used them a dozen times and lost, and I've kicked his ass. Oh, where do I get those dice from? What a prick. But it happens, you get them kind of knobheads. Right, we shall crack on. So yeah, both sides roll the dice, whoever wins chooses a table edge, but what I'll do is, because it's just a solo game, so on a 1, 2 or 3, the Germans have that edge. And on a 4, 5, 6, they are over here. Nice big hill. So, roll the dice. Germans over there, Russians have this side. So, I will... the Germans have 6 dice, 6 units. And the Russians have 8. So, I will straight up split them 50-50. So, 3 units start, 3 in reserve for the Germans, and 4 and 4 respectively for the Russians. Good old Soviets. Right. I have to excuse the sniffles and the occasional cough or something. I'm just getting over COVID, which was lovely. I don't think. Yeah, I don't need pin markers and that. I'm just seeing if I need these dice out. I will leave them out, but off table. And obviously, good old tape measure. So, German units coming on to start. See, if you've got different caliber of units, you know, like, I mean, for example, the Russian inexperienced squad, if I left them in reserve, there's a good chance they never turn up. There's a better chance they don't turn up than the veteran squad. So, for the Russians, it'll be the inexperienced squad definitely comes on first wave. The 2 officers and I think the tank. Should we get a tank for the Russians? And then the Germans, I'll pick one of the squads for the Germans. both officers, and then both vehicles will be in reserve. So I'll just check the scenario description to see if all dice go in the bag, or if it's just the ones that are coming on first wave. It doesn't say actually. I will include all dice in the bag actually, but I'll remember that there's 3 Germans. I'll remember which units come on and which don't, basically. So, oh. All the dice in the bag. So the vehicles are coming on later. I will actually move them over there. So, oh shit. I'll just leave the Russians here. It doesn't really matter. Righty. So, let a good shake up. Not doing a Don Goodman and draw Newcastle out to play a decent team, the bastard. That's a Russian dice. So one of the Russian units will come on. So it's the officers, the inexperienced squad, and the tank. I will bring on the inexperienced squad. Like I say, you don't need a roll for it. Now, in fact, what I'll do is set this up so it's something like that. It's bound to fall over. No Spielberg, am I? Right, so the inexperienced infantry squad. Infantry always moves, sorry. I'll use the ruler straight away. Like I say, it's that long since I've played this. It's just 6 inches. Advanced 6, run 12. I'll run them on. God, that was bad. Yeah, I will run them on. Now, note on terrain actually, yeah. The hills will be open, but obviously a little bit obscure, and counting that as ruins, rough ground. Now that means the wheeled vehicles, so the armoured car can't go in there. The tanks and the infantry can go in there, but they can't run through there. And the woods, just regular woods, you need to be within a certain distance of the edge of the woods to be able to see and shoot out of. But I don't think I'll count them as rough terrain because this might take all day. I'll put you back there. Worse view than before. There you go. And I will run, Forrest, run. 12 inches, 1 foot, right to the edge of that wood there. Obviously, a few years ago, I wouldn't have been that bothered who won this game. Yeah. Russians have been naughty, haven't they? Really nice though. And for those that don't know, the Russians killed my great-great-grandfather. Then again, the Germans were Germans, weren't they? Nazi bastards. So, yeah. Should have picked British and Americans for this, shouldn't I? Right. The first order dice out the bag. I'll leave that there maybe. Next order dice, another Russian. Bring the tank on. The tank. Move that there maybe. Can't even see, please. Move that there. The tank will come on just here. Tracked vehicles run 18, so I can go right up to that building. Boom. Now you can only run or advance in the first turn in this scenario. You can't go in ambush or that because you're not on the table. So next dice, Germans, is it? Yeah. I'm colourblind, folks, so bear with me. Dog's gone downstairs to bark at something. I think the postman's just been. I'm expecting a letter from the landlord, well, the estate agents, because phone call off them the other day. I've got to move. The landlady's selling up, apparently. Yeah, a bit gutted, but it's not the end of the world, is it? Right. So, what was I bringing on first? Yeah, two. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to run on the Luftwaffe and his mate. Yeah. I'll double check the range that you can see into and out of forests. So they've just come on and gone into there. They've got a line of sight to the tank. So if the Germans pull the dice before the Russians next time, that unit could call in an airstrike on, well, airstrikes work, you pick a point on the battlefield. How do you pick a unit? Airstrikes and artillery are different. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Hey. Next dice. Another German come back on. Really. Now, all the infantry, including the inexperienced, have anti-tank rifles, which are great fun. It means you can attack a tank and try and blow it up. So what I think I'll do with this squad is bring them on this edge of the tree line, and it's going to be the big squad, the big squad. Now, I thought I'd miscounted these and given one squad too many, too many, but no. Right, move these trees out of the way. Touch. You can do that. First tree I'm moving. Falls in. These guys are going to the edge of this forest. Now these German squads have one light machine gun each, an MG, well 42 would have been by 1944. I don't think there's any distinction between a 34 and a 42 in the rules. It's just a light machine gun. The Russians, the rifle squad are rifles, the SMG squad, the veteran SMGs are SMGs. The other veteran squad has two light machine guns, but each of those fires less shots than the German light machine guns do. It's a cool looking light machine gun. It looks like something off Star Wars, which I'm sure George Lucas, or Spielberg, sorry, based the design on. Another greenie. Another Russian. So it's just the officers now for the Russians. And what should I bring on? Just the lieutenant is going to come on. He's going to come on right next to the inexperienced squad. Just in case they need a bit of a pep to their morale or anything, you can help them out. That's the Russian. I make no apologies for this room being an absolute tip. It's a hobby room. There's cardboard, plastic, glue, paints, books, a TV, a Hoover, all sorts everywhere. So if yours doesn't look like this, you're doing Wargaming wrong. And like I say, I have to move soon, so hopefully somewhere where I can do this hobby. So actually this is the last German dice, which is the Commander. The Commander and his wood. I'll just bring them on into the woods as well, not so they can be seen now. I will double check for the observer. I'm sure he's okay looking out there, but he does have some Russians with bayonets and long rifles on the way. Right. So now if I draw any more German dice, they have to go down because they are in, oh God, what's all about? Because they are in reserve. Bloody tripod thing for my camera, trying to do it one-handed. This is one for them. So technically now, what have I got left? I've got one more Russian dice to draw, which I'll just do automatically because obviously, like I say, everything else has to go down, and it'll be the Russian observer. Now, they'll take a chance and plonk him on top of this hill. Would he have line of sight to that squad? He wouldn't. So what I'll do is I'll bring them on. I'll bring them. We're on 12, so they're just behind this wood here. And that is turn one. Both sides have run on because not a lot will be in range. Tank will be, but came on early, too early to have a shot. The rest of the forces now come on as reserves. What I'll do is I'll just move these guys off because they're kind of in the middle of the. They haven't been invited to the party yet. Yeah. Keep the Russians over there, it doesn't really matter. Right, so this scenario has 6 turns, and then at the end of the 6th turn, can't say 6th, sorry, you roll the dice. I think on a 1, 2, 3 the game ends. 4, 5, 6 it goes on for a 7th turn, and then the game ends. Right, so that's all dice back in the bag, trust me. Right. Turn 2. Oh, it's a Russian dice. Ready. So do they bring a squad on, or do they activate a unit that's already on the board? Decisions. Now that air observer, if I shoot at it with the tank, with its machine guns. I believe it's got two machine guns it can fire. Yeah, it's got a coaxial and a hull mounted, which will be 10 shots in the front arc. You'll be able to see the observer. However, they are in cover and they're a small team. So that would make, you always hit on a 3. You always hit on a 3. It will be long range as well, I believe. So there's -1, so that's 4. -1 for target being small, that's 5, and then -1 for being in soft cover is a 6. Now, yeah, they're going to do it. Might spoil the game a bit because I do want to watch it. I do want to do an airstrike, but kind of thing can happen. So there's 10 shots, hitting on 6s. The dice. 10 shots hitting on 6s. The T-34 is opening up with his machine guns. With these here. Not a single hit. Wow. Tell you these days. Right. So the observer's got a lucky escape there. And that was a fire action, fire order on the tank. And put your dice next to the unit so you don't give a unit 2 orders in the same turn, obviously. Not rocket science, you never know. Right. Next dice. Another Russian. I'll bring on a squad, I think. The veteran LMG squad. And they're veterans, so you have to do a morale check. Veterans are 10, so it's 10 or under, I believe. I'll double check rules for reserves because I think it's -1 for reserves to come on. Yeah, so it's -1. Come on, so for a veteran squad it's a 9. They're fine, it's a 5 to go there. So there you're going to run on, yeah, run on to the top of this hill. Zippers. That's what there, run on top of the hill. Beautiful. Next dice. And why would I cheat on playing myself? not with myself. Right, kettle of fish, right. Another dice for the Russians. I'll try and bring the light mortar on. 7 and 5. The light mortar come on right next to this squad that's just come on. Shall it? Actually, no. I'm going to bring it on right next to the inexperienced squad in this corner. Because you don't need line of sight to shoot, to fire with a mortar. And it's a light mortar, so it doesn't have a brilliant range. I hope it's good enough. Yeah. Right. Next dice. Another green, another Russian. Another squad to come on, the SMG squad. Oh, that's very good, I think. Now, if you roll double 6, you foo off. Is that for shooting or something else? Oh, we'll get there. Right. Now, this game does use templates. So you might be wondering, well, why have you put squads, like gun squads and mortars and everything, on bases together if you use templates? Because then you'll be able to hit everyone. And that's because the first edition of the rules, you didn't hit everyone. And that's how I based based all mine up. So the way I play it is, rather than being able to hit, for example, all 3 men there, either roll a dice, a d3 or something like that, and see how many hits you get, or just say it hits 2 men. Because you would be able, if you spread them out enough, you'd still be able to hit 2 men with the template. So, but the squads and everything, try and spread them out a little bit, for that reason. Germans, right. Now, so the tank's fired, so the observer doesn't really need to call in an airstrike yet. Try and bring on the Puma on. Remove this because most of the Russians are on now. Right. I'm going to try and bring the Puma on down this flank. Oh, that's a 12. That's a no, thank you. So he has to go down. Because he's in reserve, I don't think he through bars and shoots his own men. Which that armour car has done in the past, believe me. So, you, Mr. Puma, going down. Did all that and he didn't come on. Right. Next dice. Russian. Right, now, right here, roughly behind the command squad, is a good field of fire for a machine gun. So I won't need to measure it because they move just as quickly as squads. But I haven't rolled for it, have I? Yeah. Well reminded, dog, so he might not come on. So, yeah, it's fine. 7 he got. Can you see that on screen? Yeah, you can. Just in case you couldn't see it, the Puma rolled a 12. Right, so that's all the Russians on. You don't have to bring all your reserves on like this. You can give them a down order for them to stay off board. Might do for the German tank. The Germans now. So, shall I now try? Yeah, I'll try and bring the German tank on this flank instead. 8, just. Like I say, for reserve to come on, you can move 18. For reserves to come on, it's -1 to their morale. So the morale of the inexperienced squad is a 8. We're running down to 7. So a lot of these roles, the inexperienced squad wouldn't have been able to come on. So that's why it's always best to bring on those kinds of squads at the beginning of the game or start them on the table. You might never see them. A lot of people put a veteran squad inside an inexperienced vehicle to make it cheaper. But the dangers of doing that is you roll for the vehicle to come on, not the squad that's in it. So, you know, you might have a squad full of the best tank hunters in the world and they can't get onto the board because they're in a truck with 3 wheels and yeah. Good old Ford. Right. So the tank's on. He's blitzing down there. He's ran and he and the T-34 are able to fire at each other next turn. I might actually, if he advanced, can advance 9. He's not in line of sight of the tank. Right, no. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful. Right. Next dice. Another German. Is it? Yeah. Not only am I colourblind, I'm going blind, so everything's a bit foggy, is the best way I can describe it. It's glaucoma. It's a bitch, it really is, but you know, I could lie in bed all day and just fucking cry about it, but fuck it, let's get on. Let's get on. So this squad is going to come into the woods on this side. Again, I will roll to see if they can. Yep, they are fine. They are beautiful. We'll run 12 inches or a foot, as we say in England. My feet aren't 12 inches. My feet are weird. One's bigger than the other. Where size, I can sometimes get away with a size 11 and a size 12, but usually it's a size 10 on my left and a, was the other way around, 10 and then 11. Yeah. Foot size is a bit, I bet you didn't tune in for that, did you folks? Tune in, please. Like I say, each of these squads has an LMG, which I'll put near the front, got you there, and modelled on what I usually do for, see, each unit has a loader as well. Each LMG has a loader, which means that Gadgie, northeast term there, Gadgie, he can't shoot his own gun, so, you know, just give them a rifle, basically, if you're doing squads, and then it doesn't really cost anything. If you give them a bloody assault gun and then they can't shoot it because they're loading for LMG, what's the point, you know what I mean? So yeah, the way I model the loaders, I simply put, so I'll show you this as an example. So there's my LMG for the Russian, oops, another one. And then the loader, I've simply got an ammo case laid next to them like that. And it's the same on the Germans. We've got an ammo box next to the feet of the people with who are designated as loaders. Or laden, as they were called in German. Right. So, history lessons, yeah, history lessons. It's a Russian dice. All units are out, so it's a unit to be reactivated, except the tank, of course, he's already had a pop. So most of the German units are out. There's just the armoured car in reserve now. This is where it gets saucy, because the German air observer I'll get them to bring in an airstrike on the tank, but that affects units near the tank as well, such as the Russian artillery observer. And if I bring the observer across, he can then see most of the German units. I would say that he can't see the infantry unit there, but he could see everything else if I move him to the edge of, can you see that whittle tree there? If I move him to the edge of that little copse there with a down tree, yes, that's what they're going to do. Just going to run them into there. Like I say, I'm not counting the woods as rough ground, just the building. You know, there's rubble everywhere and vines and shit like that. I could count the forest bits as rough ground, but it would take 3 turns for the Germans to get through that. So, yeah, I'll pop that. Right, not many dice left for this turn. So another Russian. I'm going to run the inexperienced squad that are into those trees. And there's no more, well, I say there's no more morale checks. I do have to do another one if I want to bring on the Puma, who didn't fancy it this turn. So the way I've done these, you can see I've delineated the size of the forest, so to speak, or the woods, with just a bit of felt. And then I've got trees, various trees, things like woodland scenics that you have to build yourself, which is that kind of crap, which look odd, which I don't mind. And then a lot of these, like Hornby or something like that, and you know, woodland scenics own trees that they've already built. Get some now and again from the train museum near where I used to live, and might soon be living again. So anyway, there's the run order for the inexperienced squad. Talk a lot, don't I? But I'm used to not getting a reply. I said, "Oh, bite me." Yeah. Young does when he's playing. Caught me a good one the other day. Didn't have catch me. Dog's called Pork Chop for those interested in dogs. No, it's not my favourite food. It's a bit of a long story, but it involves another dog that we used to have, and it had a toy, and thought that toy was its puppy, and I was the only one who was allowed anywhere near it, so I always vowed that, you know, that dog died long ago, but it's a lovely dog. And I said, as soon as I get my own dog, that's what I'll call him, and man, we were Russians. Oh no, German, sorry. Yeah, everything looked great. So what hasn't moved? The observer's done fuck all yet. He's got a lot of targets now. But nothing's going to shoot at him, so he can wait till the end of the turn. I will run this squad, but because this is rough ground, I can run them. I'm going to say I can run them 6 inches, and then they have 4 inches of movement left, but I'll half that down to 2 for the rough ground, so technically 8 inches, which might not get all of them in. It won't. Some of them's going to be near the edge, but the majority of them are going to be. Now I'll class this as hard cover as well. So soft cover is -1 to the shooting, which we've seen from the tank shooting into the woods at the observer. But this is going to be hard cover. So if anyone shoots at these guys, it's going to be -2. Even though not all of them are going to be able to make it in. But celery. Now I could have advanced them and then maybe had a shot with the LMG at something, but they wouldn't have reached the cover, so better get in cover, really. The German, is it? German? Yes, German. I should be able to tell actually, the Germans are black, white, and the Russians are white. I will just notice that. Right. I will bring these across just a little bit so they're not, so they can't be shot at. She was in advance, but they've got submachine guns which have a very short range, 12 inches, so they're not within range of anything to shoot, but I just want to keep them a little bit more safe. And 2 dice left, 2 dice left. It's a green Russian. Someone knocking at the door, I don't answer doors. Right. So the officer here will go with the inexperienced squad again. He'll just back them up. A couple more trees. Where's the dog going to bark? I better go and see who that is. God knows what that was. Dog's a bit agitated now though, so ready. So the last dice out the bag is German, and that will be for the observer, and he will call in an airstrike on the tank. So it's a fire order. Don't need tests for it. And what that means is I'll put a marker, which I'll use a different coloured order dice on the tank. And then the beginning of next turn, we roll to see what happens, what comes in, what kind of aircraft comes in, and what damage it does, what pins it does, and so on and so forth. So that's turn 2. Everything is on except the Puma. Cowardly Puma. 8 Russian dice. 8 Russian dice into the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now most armies can only bring in 1 airstrike or 1 artillery bombardment per game through their observers. The Americans and the British are different. The British can call in 2 artillery strikes, or no, technically you get 1 free artillery observer, so you can bring 2 artillery observers in. And the Americans can call in 2 airstrikes per game, which is hilarious when your airstrike ends up blitzing your own tanks like it did on a game. Me and Chez played in a tournament once, Tank Wars tournament. My Shermans got absolutely pummeled by my own airstrike. Ready. Turn 3, first dice, Germans. Oh, what have I just said? Right. Yes, the first thing you do is an airstrike. So, if we look at the rules for airstrikes. And they're not in the rules summary. We'll go looking for them. I do have pages turned over in the rulebook for common. You know what, I'm going to stop it and have a good look. And catch this fucking fly before the dog does. So, brief interlude there. I'll sort some stuff out. Back at it, back with the airstrike, beginning of turn 3. As you can see, there's a marker on the tank here. Now, the way airstrikes work is there is a chart that you need to roll on at the beginning of each turn now. So we see if an aeroplane comes in or not. That's a 5, I do believe. Double check the old rule book. Airplane chart 4, 5 or 6, here it comes. Right, so we now roll again to see what kind of aircraft it is. It's a 1, so it's just a strafing fighter, which probably won't take out the tank, sadly. I might put some pins on it now. Okay enough. Clean the dust off this before I put it on the table. Been on my shelf a little bit too long. So here is the strafing fighter. Yeah. Right. Now the way these work is 18 inches from where you've placed that marker. I can find my tape measure. So, of course it's around the other side of the table. Bound to be. So 18 inches, you put a marker. That marker can be anything, absolutely anything. So put that there, but we'll say that because it's on a hill, it won't work that well. So the tip of the nose is 18 inches away from old T-34 there. And well, first of all, we find out if anything has flak. Now, pintle mounted machine guns count as flak, and these might shoot down the plane or chase it away. And I have to check the German vehicles for pintle mounts as well, because there's potential that they would shoot it down by accident, but they don't have anything pintle mounted, and neither does the T-34, so nothing's got flak, so we don't have to resolve flak, which is good, because again, bad stories, bad memories. Righty, so then we resolve the attack for a strafing fighter. So, first of all, we roll for pins for unit. Yeah, my stomach there. For units that are within 6 inches of the target unit and within 6 inches of the token, which in this case, as I've just said, is the aircraft itself, the 109 there. So it's D3 minus 1. So units within 6 inches, you can see this, but they're within 6. Ooh, they're just within 6 and definitely within 6. Also the LMG squad is within 6, so is that medium machine gun, they're within 6. So that's 4 units I need, 4 units, sorry, You don't test the target model, that takes different pins from the actual attack. So we'll test for, I'll try and set this up so I can test all of these units without messing about too much. Right, so they're all right. So the medium machine gun will start D3 minus 1, so that's 1. That would have been 2 minus 1. So he's on 1 pin. Germans. I don't know where I put my dice. There we go. Right. So little white dice for pins. There's 1 pin for them. The LMG squad. Oh, that's a 6. So that would have been 3 down to 2 pins. Two for them. The artillery observer, he takes a pin. And the SMG squad, they don't take anything. Nice. Alrighty, so that's the pins resolved for that, for this attack. But we haven't resolved the actual attack. So a strafing fighter, the target takes 1 additional pin marker. Infantry. So infantry, artillery and soft skin vehicles suffer 2d6 hits with a tank. It just says armoured targets are hit on their top armour. So I don't think it takes any damage. Oh, I do need to see if there's any pins for the tank, actually. It does take 1 pin. And then it takes an additional pin for the actual attack. The way it's worded, because it does have a, it says infantry, artillery and soft skin vehicles suffer 2d6 hits with a +2 pen value. Infantry and artillery can go down to half the hits. Armoured targets are hit on the top armour, but does that mean it still takes? Can't remember how I played it in the past, quite frankly. I'll tell you what, I'll leave it as it is with just the 2 pins for the tank. You play it differently. If you think that attack, you know, if I should have rolled 2d6 attacks on the top armour of the tank, let me know. Well, that said, I don't think it's in the, I don't think you can comment on my videos for some reason. Strangely enough. Right. So that's that kind of resolved, so to speak. And the plane flies away and he doesn't come back. Put him back over on the shelf with the other hairy planes. It would have been good if it was a ground attack aircraft, because I've got a couple of Stukas over here. That would have been nice, but alas, no. So that's the Yeah, Air Attack. Lots of pins, which might come in handy. And if you remember, I'd drawn a grey dice out before I started all that because I'm a bit of a fanny. Shouldn't have done, but I did. So that Observer now and his buddy are just a two-man team that can run around. I usually give, well, in fact, I always actually give my officers and their extra men SMGs so they can get stuck into a bit of close combat. It's always funny seeing two men charge into God knows what. But the aim of this game, which I didn't say at the beginning, is you need to kill more units than the enemy does. So maybe I won't dive those two men straight into the inexperienced rifle squad. It would be a bit daft. But, well, that's getting a bit sidetracked as usual. Look. Right, so, a couple of pins on the tank. It'll probably impede it from doing anything this turn. Take that away, the marker. But I'd still rather, kill it than anything else. So, what we're going to do is, Panzer IV will take a shot. I can turn the turret on this. Can't turn the turret on my T-34, got stuck when I painted it, as you do. And he's going to have a shot at the T-34. So that's a fire order. He's also going to open up with his MMG, the hull-mounted one, against the inexperienced squad, which is right in front of him, just in the trees, so they will get light cover. But we'll start the big boy with a big shot. So I'll check range and everything. The armour on the T-34. A medium tank. Oh, they're 9 plus, yeah, medium tank, 9 plus, and the heavy anti-tank gun is plus 6, and we get 1 shot, right. So, what's the range? Range 72. So let's see if he's half range. If not, it's plus 1 to hit. And he's within half range. He's 29 inches away. So it's a straight up 3 plus. I'd say he's hitting the side armour as well. Can you see that? It is a 3. So he has hit. Now the armour. So you roll a d6 and then you add the plus 6 for it being a heavy gun. Heavy anti-tank gun. The armour of the T-34 is a 9 plus, but because it's the side armour, that goes down to 8 plus. So, and basically, if I get a 2, I glance it. And if I get anything above that, then I roll on the damage table. We'll find out. So I roll a 5 there, so that's a good roll. So that has definitely penetrated the armour. And we'll roll another dice to see what effect that penetrating shot has. Oh, that's a 1. So it's just stunned the crew. That is unlucky. Very unlucky. So the crew's stunned. Add 1 additional pin marker. Place a down order next to it and change its current order dagger down. It's halted and it can't do anything for the rest of this turn. And you also have to roll for turret jam. Now, turret jam is ridiculous in bolt action. You would think it would jam in the position where it fired last, which would have been against the observers, but it doesn't. It would jam in the direction where it's shot from, which, like I said, to me is just, it's not right. When they bring out a third edition, I hope they change it. Just double check the rules for turret jam. Yeah. Turret jam. Right, on 1 to 3, the turret doesn't jam, and I hope it doesn't. Yeah, that's a 2 I rolled there. So the turret doesn't jam. Good. Right, but that is an extra pin marker for the T-34. And I take a dice out the bag, a green dice for the Russians. There it is. And he goes down. You can't do anything. So, couple interesting bits there. It's another German dice. Let's try and bring my Puma on, I think. Try and roll it all the way down the far side of the board. So, we'll roll the morale check -1. Yeah, he's on this time, that's a 7. Can you see that? Oh yeah, that's rough terrain, isn't it? So you can't go through that. And I did say we'll call that the edge. So bring them on over here. It's more than we did. More than good enough. I'm gonna shoot. Oh, that reminds me actually. I'll go back here because he was also going to open up with his medium machine gun at the rifle squad here, the inexperienced squad. Now, I think earlier on I said every squad's got anti-tank rifles. I meant anti-tank grenades. Yeah. So, like I said, the medium machine guns for the Germans have 1 dice extra, the better. So this is 6. We'll be hitting on 3s. They're in the woods, so it's hitting on 4s. And that is 3 hits. Now, inexperienced, they save on, let's say 4s. Yeah, so it will be 3+ to kill them. Normally they're in the woods, so that drops down to 4s. So that is 2 casualties, 2 dead, 2 dead. I'll just take the back couple off. Bang bang. Now they also have a special rule called green, which means when they take a casualty, their first casualty, You roll the dice. On a 1, it's really bad. They take a load of pins. They actually take a pin just for being shot at there. Well, for being hit anyway. A unit can take pins and not lose. You know, you can pass his save and throw, but you still take a pin as long as you get hit. So they're taking a pin for being hit. You only ever take 1, unless it's multiple, like a barrage or something like that. It'll tell you in the rules. But the green rule is you roll the dice. On a 1, they take, I think it's d6 plus 1 more hits, and they go down. On a 2, 3, 4, nothing happens. They stay as they are. Inexperienced rifle squad. On a 5 or 6, they actually get upgraded to a regular squad, which makes the saving and everything better. So, to 2, nothing happens. They stay as an inexperienced squad. And that only happens the once. They won't do that again if they get shot again. But they have taken 2 casualties there. So, yeah, so it's another dice now. Russians. Now, one of the orders you can give a squad is rally, and that will attempt to remove pin markers. But if a unit has a pin marker, you need to roll a morale check. If it passes that morale check, minus the 1 for the pin, then you lose 1 pin marker anyway. So because most of these only have 1, it's not worth doing a rally order. So with that in mind, I will attempt to order the I'll order the artillery observer, who can, you can see the, what can he see? You can see the tank, right? He's going to order an artillery strike on the tank, okay? But because he's got a pin, I've got to check for it, roll for it. Well, that's cocked, but it would have rolled to a 3, I'd say. So that's 9, plus the 1 is 10. They're a veteran, so they've passed that. So they lose that pin marker. And the order is passed successfully. Now, an artillery strike hits a point on the table. You don't target a unit like you do with the airstrike. So, I'm actually going to place the pin marker right on the edge of the woodland there. This tank's gone, he can't move anymore, so he can't get away from that. I'll check it within so many inches. Hopefully catch that squad in the blast, and maybe even catch the German observer there as well, because barrages, and Russian barrages are a little bit more deadly as well. You roll 2 dice to pick the best result, basically. It's d6 plus 6 inches from that point, the point where the dice is, in a radius, and then you roll to see how damaged or how many pins those units take. But it always hits that point unless you roll poorly to see if the artillery's coming in, and your opponent can move the dice so many inches, or you can as well. It's quite good. It's a lot different to the airstrike tell trade, but sometimes it's a lot more deadly. We'll say that at the beginning of next turn that happens, just like the airstrike. So we'll have another dice there. There it is. Right. So, what here? So the light mortar will have a crack. I'll check the range for the light mortar actually. Might need to move a bit. Oh. Range is 12 to 24. So you can't shoot at anything less than 12, and you can't shoot at anything over 24. So 12 is there, and then 24. Oh, so he could, yeah, he's going to target that squad there. That's what he's going to shoot. Now, bigger mortars have spotters, so which negates what I'm about to do. They would, if you had a spotter, or if you're within line of sight of an enemy that you want to shoot at, then you would hit on the 3+, then you take into range pins, blah blah blah. But because they're out of sight, you roll a dice. If you roll a 6, it's a hit. Then you resolve it. If they stay still where they are, and so does the mortar, the next turn it will be a 5 to hit. The turn after that, a 4 to hit. So mortars are quite good at taking out enemy mortars, and machine guns, forcing units to move so they can't shoot is what they do best. So roll here. So on a 6 it hits. Nope, it's a 5. So what I'll do is I'll leave that right next to the mortar, just to remind me that it's a 5 to hit that unit next time. But they'll probably move because that artillery's coming in. See that? Still got it, still got it. It's another Russian dice. So, what I'll try and do is come over here. Oh, kind of tilt down. I'll try and move this squad. They don't have any pins. They didn't get any pins from the airstrike, and they'll move up to occupy this side of the terrain. And just like the Germans, when they move, they'll run, they'll go so far, and then I'll have to halve the distance for the rough ground, rough terrain. There for the tank. He is 6 inches, so he moves the 6, and then he would have another 6, but he can only move another 3. One order for them. Next dice. German. German. So Putin's moved. That squad hasn't. That squad hasn't. Yeah. I think it's inevitable that this squad is going to have to move. These guys here. So we're going to run away as far as possible from that artillery dice. Try and get them to. Oh, ah! Timber. Right. I'm going to actually try and angle them back this way a bit, I think. And then hopefully for the German's sake, they won't get caught up in the blast of the Russian artillery. Sure if you saw any of that there. Right. Not many dice left for this turn 3. It's a Russian. Like I say, I'm treating the trees as open ground, not rough ground. So here we go. You see these gadgies. There they go, gadgies again. I'm going to call it the Gadgie Squad. They're going to try and assault El Tanco. Right. Now they do have a pin, they are inexperienced still. But the second lieutenant is within range to give them a boost. So it negates the -1 for the pin. So it's an 8 or under for these to pass this test. And they get a 7. That would have put it back up to an 8. Which means they still would have passed. But they pass, they lose that. And they charge. Yep. Well within a foot. And again, like most of this, I'll have to brush up on exactly how you assault a tank with infantry. I'm pretty sure everyone gets a dice, and then because they've got tank hunters because they've got anti-tank grenades. So a quick browse at that. And because it stood still last time to shoot, that'll cause it there, that'll give an effect. Now we can't make reaction fire, I don't think, because it's already fired. I think we've never played it like that. Now I think if they didn't have the anti-tank grenades, they had to pass a morale check just to charge you anyway. I think that's how that rule works. If the vehicle advanced, then I would have to have all 6s to hit. But like I say, it was stood still, so it's 4 5s or 6s. And then how many hits they get, you roll a d6 and you add that for the penetration score. Right. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 left. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These guys need a 4, 5 or 6. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ow, that's won't be interesting. So it's a d6 plus 4. Ooh, but they roll a 6, which is a 10. The armor of the tank is a 9, so that is a that's what they needed to penetrate the armour. Let's see if she goes bang, shall we? One. Oh, it's crew stunned. Just like the T-34. So that bad boy can't do anything for the rest of this turn, but he's already done his stuff. Unlucky there, inexperienced squad. You know, a free squad almost taking out the most expensive thing on the German side. I think it's the most expensive thing. Maybe the squad's a bit. But anyway, so close. Russians again. We're going to be proactive and attempt to move this squad off the hill towards those woods, maybe into those woods. Give them a bit, or maybe even just behind those woods. Give them a bit of cover. They do have 2 pins on them. That'll be a run order. I don't think they've got much to shoot at after much within range anyway. So veterans start at 10, they go down to 8 because of the 2 pins, and that's brilliant. So they lose a pin for passing that, so they're down to 1 pin now. I'll put that down there, and then definitely within 12, don't need to measure it. I'll just put them behind those woods for now. Germans can't call in another airstrike, so they'll be fine. Really? Keep doing that, but like I said, I can't cheat against myself really, can I? Russians. Who hasn't gone? The commander and the MG team. The Germans are pretty much hiding, aren't they? So I'm just going to move the MMG up to get a better. Just going to move this guy forward a touch. As you can see, he's got a pin, so I'll have to roll. See if we can pass it. Oh, snake eyes. Now, because he's got pin markers on him, and I rolled a double 1, if he had, say, 4 pins, I believe I would roll a d6 and I got another 1, but I think you roll a d6 and it removes more pins. If you roll double 1, you get to remove more pins essentially. So I'll just move him up just to the edge of the woods, I think. And he's lost the pin because he passed that test. Right. Only a couple of dice left, I think. So I can't count them. There's 3 left. Germans. Or the Germans, as Gene Hackman would call them. Right, a big squad. So you can see it here. Big squad at the back there. Don't have any pins. This is rough ground, so they can only go 6 inches if they run. They can kind of see through to shoot, but yeah, I'm going to give them a run order. They can't run through terrain, so it's just an advance order. it's just so they can take up some shooting positions really. There's an MJ, let's stick in a pillar with his loader there. Split these guys out with touch. A few up here, so you can see over. So that's an advance order, so they can still shoot at -1 because they've moved as well. But so they're going to target the SMG squad that's on the other side of that building. Both sides are in the same kind of cover, but we'll still give them the heavy cover safe because obviously it looks like they're shooting through those walls. Got the cheat sheets. So it's a HIA veteran infantry squad, 8 with rifle, 1 NCO submachine gun who will be within range, and 1 infantry with a light machine gun, requires a loader obviously. So that takes those 8 rifle shots down to 7. I'll do the rifles first. So we're needing 3s basic, up to 5s because of the cover, we'll say. And that is 2 hits. 2 hits from the rifles. Then the light machine gun. German light machine guns get 5 dice, normal light machine guns get 4. These guys get 5. It's the same again. No hits for the light machine gun now. And then 2 shots for the MP40 that the sergeant has. And he gets a hit, and it's a 6. I'll roll this again. If it's another 6, it hits the sergeant of the veteran squad, but no, it's a 4. Right, so I believe that's 4 hits overall. Guards save on a 10, save on a 3. And we've saved all those, so they haven't lost anybody in close range shooting now. That's a big advantage of cover. So in lots of games of bolt action where it's like looks like a Warhammer fantasy battle table where there's a big open space in the middle and it's just a slaughter. No one would fight there. No one would, but just a war game, isn't it, I suppose. Ready. German. There's a couple left now actually. German. Commanders, that's all they've got left really. I'm going to run the senior lieutenant up to the not entering into the terrain, just taking a bit of cover behind it. Germans again. The observer there done his duty to the fatherland, the Führer. and he's going to run back this way away from where the artillery is. Oh yeah, the artillery. Inexperienced squad. Oh dear. So the artillery come in and destroy the tank and that squad now, Craigie. And it is very soon because it's the last dice, last Russian dice. And it's their commander. Now. You know what, I'm just gonna put them on a down order. Don't want to do anything with them at the moment. Right. Turn 3 summary. A lot of people are running away from this artillery coming in. Tank had a pop at the Panzer had a pop at the T-34, didn't work out. Just stunned the crew, which fair enough. It stopped that T-34 doing anything this turn. Russians pretty much advanced across the board. Marder had a pop, missed. And the squad it shot at ran away, so they're back up to 6s if they want to hit anything, but I think everything's run away too far now for them to do anything. And maybe even run away so much that they're not within range now, because they were only just within range of this squad. They taking a casualty of lost someone. Oh, crap. I wonder if anyone noticed that it's set up. Pick 2 riflemen up and put them in that squad when they should have been in this squad, so there we go. But I still resolved the shooting as it was. It's the dice, German dice. 5. There he is. Right. 6 German dice back in the bag. 8 Russian dice back in the bag. Turn this dice here for turn 4. Bloody fly. Dog kills all the spies in the house, so I get flies now. The Russians went to lose quite a few pins there. In fact, I think they passed all the morale checks, so they could lose pins. Oh, one thing I've just realised. The tank should be on 4 pins. 1 for hearing the fighter, 2 for getting hit by the fighter, 3 for getting hit by the tank, and 4 for an extra 1 for being stunned. So there's the 4 dice. He will probably have to rally to get rid of them. Because his morale checks will be at -4 because of that, if he wants to do anything. So again, this turn he probably can't do anything because he'll be rallying. And a rally order, he can't do anything else. Right. First things first though, baba boom, there's not much kicking about other than a ton of Russian infantry who are probably from Mongolia or Ukraine. Ukraine, yeah. Right. So we're all on the artillery table. See if it comes in or if it gets moved even. Right, artillery barrage chart. I roll a 1, it's a miscalculation. And it moves 3d6 in a random direction. The order dice have little arrows on, so that's perfect. You can roll on them as a see where the shot goes to. 2 or 3 is a delay. So the Russians can move it 12 inches, and then you roll again at the beginning of the next turn, which is probably what the Russians want, actually. 4, 5 or 6 Pfeiffer effect, and that's the artillery screaming in to do some killing. Alright, let's see what's occurring. As a 3, that's what the Russians wanted. So this moves 12 inches. It's like a Benny Hill sketch. It's going to move 12 right there. And then we roll again next turn to see if it comes in. See how far we can chase those German infantry. Alright. So I'll just get a cinematic shot for Vasey loves these kind of things. Look at that. Russian greenhorns attacking a panzer. Russian. So now we'll go another assault against the tank. Got very lucky last time getting that 6. I don't think it's going to happen again. Do we charge the infantry? Now there's an idea. Russian infantry charging into the German infantry. You can't run in rough terrain, but I'd say they can assault into rough terrain, you know what I mean? Normally, the player who attacks rolls their attacks first, then you can kill some of the enemy and that's less attacks coming back, but they're both in rough terrain, so it will be an equal fight, I would feel. That's what I'm going to do, because the Russians all have submachine guns, so they get tough fighters. Which I will double check, I'm pretty sure gives them, for every kill they get a roll again to see if they kill someone else. Oh, Tiger Fire for the Panzer, I never even thought of that. Wow. Well, no one's shot at it yet. I don't like Tiger Fire as a rule. Another thing I hope we change if they've got version 3 coming out. Right. So, these guys are going to assault the Germans. I mean, not in trees of a cat-handed giant. And I'll go and set them up. And this isn't like 40k where you have to specifically set up touch and bases and whatever. Just is what it is. And it is brutal. Right, so each one gets a dice, and there are 10 Russians. And both sides are veterans, so the Russians will kill on threes and the Germans will kill on threes as well. So a bit of a dicey gamble. Ha ha ha. That's just here. Yeah, killing on threes because they are veterans. Regulars kill on fours, and then experienced kill on fives. But like I said, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good, 6 kills. So like I said, the Germans remove 6 casualties, and then the rest would fight back normally. But the Germans are in cover. They haven't taken any casualties. That's good. So they have 10 attacks coming back as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so the Germans have lost out there by 1. So the Russians win it 6-5. Now there are special rules for certain units that would make them, I think the stubborn rule, I think Japanese have it where you remove casualties, then you fight again and again and again until one side is wiped out. But because neither of these are stubborn, those 4 German survivors surrender. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe a cinematic shot. I might take a photo of that as well, actually. It looks quite good. There's the combat that's just gone on. The Russians won it, but they did take 5 casualties. So they're like half the squad. I'll stop this, take some. Okay then, so the Germans have lost a unit there, which means both Russian, of course. I'll take a dice out for the Germans, and that symbolises 1-0 to the Russians. Put those Russian dice back in there. So, next dice. Russian. I think before it moves and then shoots, we'll have another bash at this tank with the inexperienced squad. So there's still 10 men there. They have lost 2 men casualties, but we started off with 12. So hitting on 4, 5s or 6s, and then like I say again, we roll the d6 and see what the crack is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that's a better roll than last time. Yeah, it is a better roll than last time. So that's 6 added on to whatever this dice roll is to see if we penetrate. And that's another 6 they've rolled again. Can you see these dice on there? That's 6 plus 6 is 12. The armor is 9, so it's definitely another penetrating hit. Can they get something other than a 1? No, they can't. It's, oh my word. But the crew is stunned. They can't do anything this turn, so I'll take a German dice out of the bag. Put it next to the tank. The tank has to go down. Oh, the tank actually takes pins as well, doesn't it? So it's got a pin from last turn, last stunned, and a pin from this stunned. And it's gone down. I mean, even if the inexperienced squad just pins that tank to death, really, like pins it every turn, you know, it's kind of taken that tank out for no points, which is still fabulous. But, you know, the Germans aren't wiped out yet, and it doesn't give the Russians a point. But, you know, the 1-0 up. See how it goes there. So, another Russian. Oof. Technically, the Germans have drawn 2 dice. One that for the destroyed unit and one for the tank there. Yeah. Russian. So the tank's not going to shoot at the T-34. The armoured car could. MG team doesn't have anyone to shoot at. The mortar doesn't have anyone to shoot at. What I'm going to do, I'm going to run the mortar through the woods and just behind this hill here. 12, that's perfect. Through the trees and just there. I'll hope to try and get in range of a few shots, because that artillery is chasing those Germans, like I say, like a Benny Hill movie. Oh, Russian dice are dropped. Another Russian dice. You know what? The MG team is going to go into ambush, because if those German infantry come forwards, they can shoot at them like out of sync kind of thing. That's what ambush is. They can interrupt an enemy's turn to shoot at them. Another Russian person. That German wants to win now. Yeah. The observer, he's done his duty, so I'll just pull the observer back to the observer's just going to pull back behind the trees. He didn't get shot by anything. Give an easy point to the Germans. Another Russian. This is an I go you go game by the looks of it. Right, let's try and rally some pins off the tank. Now it's got 4 pins, so for a regular order that would be -4 to the morale check. But when you do a rally, you do it at their base level, so they just need to get beneath 10. And they do, they get a 7. And it's D6 plus 1 pins. So they've taken off 5 pins, so they've taken off all their pins from the tank, which is fantastic for them. We were on 4, now they're on nothing. So it's free to operate next turn. Could the armoured car get round that? Get round the corner and have a pop at it this turn? Perhaps that's the plan for the Germans, but we'll see what the crack is. Germans need something. Now they lost one of their big squads. They do have a dice. They only have a dice. And yeah, let's so vehicles can pivot. I think track vehicles can do 2 pivots, and sorry, tracked do 1 pivot per turn, wheeled do 2. And we'll see exactly how far that armoured car can move. Yeah. Half tracks and wheeled vehicles can do 2 90-degree pivots. There's an advance and 1 as a run. Track can only do 1. A wheel vehicle can go 12 inches, so let's see if that gets them a shot against the T34. So the pivot, yeah, like so. Yeah, it will do, yeah. 12 inches and then tick, 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 tick. I think he's got a whole mounted machine gun as well, which I'll double check. Another pop at something. He doesn't. No, he's got coaxial MG. So the coaxial would have to shoot in the same general direction as the turret gun. If it was a hull mounted, he could shoot this way, this arc, but he has to shoot this arc because it's the same arc as the main armament, which is a medium anti-tank gun, which is obviously less powerful than the heavy anti-tank gun. It only has +5. So we'll shoot that first, and then the machine gun will shoot at, I'd say these are in cover, out of line sight, sorry, but he's going to shoot at the squad that won the close combat with the MG. So shift him out of the way. Yeah, let me see all that on there. So he's within half range, definitely within 30 inches, which is half range for a medium gun, and he's also within half range of the MG as well, so he won't. He's moved, so that's a -1. I think that's all. Yep. It's -1 for the tank because it's in open, but it'll be -3 for the hardcover for the squad. So so he hits the tank on a 4, he misses, rolls a 3. Is that on table? Yeah, you can see it there. That's no good. And then he gets these 6 medium machine gun shots for being German, and these need 6s, 3s, 4s from moving. Yeah, 6s for these. Not a single one. Not a single sausage. Unlucky, unlucky. Because now that T34 is free next turn to do what it wants. Right, interesting. So no hits, no pins given to any of them either. So James finally get a dice and doing out. It's another German dice. Now the German commander's just behind here. If he runs this way, he'll get shot at by the MMG. If he stays there, he's going to get clobbered by the SMG squad. they will dish out more shots than the MMG will. So he's going to run back into the woodland because he's got no one to support now. So I'll give them there a 12-inch run, but because they will cross the line of sight of the MMG, I'll move them there, but I've got a feeling they're going to get shot by the medium machine gun. Now it's a Russian medium machine gun, so you only get 5 shots. I'll check the range of where they would have been shot. It's 22 foot, so the over half range definitely. So that's another -1. The small team, -1 for, they'll catch them in the open, so they won't get a cover save for being in the woods. So -1 for range, -1 for small team. So that's 3s up to 5s. Oh, and there's 3 hits. 2 of them were 6s as well. So I'll quickly roll these. To see if they're hits on the. Oh no, do you do it on the wounds? I think you do it on the wounds. Right. So the saving for the veterans. So they save on a 3+. Yeah. Save on a 3+. So one of them is dead. And we'll see if it's the. No, it's not. So it's a pin on the lieutenant, and he's lost his buddy, his little SMG partner. Oh, no shells, we thought out. Not many dice left. A Russian. This squad here hasn't moved. So this squad here are going to move into the you see that? Yeah, this squad into this cover here. Should we advance them and shoot at anything? That there isn't anything that can actually kill. You can't shoot rifles at tanks. You can shoot at soft skin vehicles and give them pins, but it's useless shooting at armoured vehicles. You're not allowed to pin them. You're not allowed to shoot them. So you can't give them pins. So let's stick the LMG. There's a loader at the edge there, and the other one. And the next one. He's an observer, he's gone nowhere, he's already moved. Let's get them into cover, and if anything comes through that tree line, they can shoot at them. Yeah. Done diddly done. 3 dice left, I think. I said that last time there was 4, but German dice. Now that is right in the centre of the so the artillery is coming in right in the centre of the trees there. I think these guys are going to get caught wherever they go, so I'm going to run them. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to run them. Where to? I'll run them back in this direction towards the inexperienced squad. Don't have any hits, any pins, so no test required. Just where this tree is, so you can measure it. So I'll say that they are close enough to the edge of the forest to be shot at, but they can also shoot out. And they haven't got very far away from that in this minute. I wonder if you ever see a ghost in the background, please, because my house is a bit haunted. Weird stuff does happen. Germans. And I will just go down with the observer. If he comes out of cover, he'll get shot at, and he's going to get hit by that artillery, I believe, sometime soon. It's inevitable. But if he's down, it halves the hits against him, so it's not too bad. And then I believe there is one dice left. It's Russian, and it's the Russian commander. Level hit. Russian commander will just go behind the trees here. If this wasn't a scenario where it was kill points, if there was an objective or something, you'd be more proactive with your small teams. Maybe not the commanders, but definitely the observers and stuff like that. Try and sort this out. Tighten this up so it doesn't. Camera keeps saying about. Yeah, you'd be more proactive with your units, small units. The observers after they fired, for example. Pick these dice back up. Even the ones that went down, I'll pick them up, and it's an extra dice in the bag for the Germans, for example. Test for that artillery, and then units have the option of going down anywhere. Just double check I've got all the dice. So there should be 5 Germans now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And still be 8 Russian. Russian. They're all in there, they're all shaky shit. Let's see who comes out first. Alright, this should be interesting. It's a Russian, and the T-34 has to do it really. First of all, he's going to pivot, so he's not on his side armour to the bloody do that. Humour. And then he's going to, and because he's, should he? No, I'll keep him like so. I can't move the turret. I think we've just broken it. So turret does move, kind of. And he's going to fire. I think if he pivots, that counts as movement, so that would be -1 to his shooting. But for moving turrets, pivoting turrets, you don't get that -1. He does have a coaxial, but I don't think anything's in range. Right. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself as ever. Let's see if the artillery comes in. So 1, miscalculation. 2, 3, the Russian player moves it. 4, 5, 6, fire for effect. Russians get to move it again. just going to move it. They can move it up to 12 inches, so just going to move it there so it's equidistant to the commander on his Todd, the observer and that squad. And now see if it comes in next turn. So now we'll resolve the tank shooting. So now the tank could move within 6 inches and get +1 to its shooting. Then if it misses, the Puma has +1 as well to shoot back, because that +1 would negate the -1 for movement, but I'll just keep it as it is. So it's a straight 3 up really, and it's a 6, that's a hit, and it's on the side armour. Now the armoured car has weaker armour, obviously. Its armour is only 8+, because it's on the side, that's 7. So the heavy anti-tank gun is +6. So if I roll a 1, it's a glancing hit. Anything above that, it's a penetrating hit. That's a 4, can you see that? Yeah. It's a penetrating hit. Let's see what happens. Up to now I've rolled how many? I think 3 crew stunned rolls in a row for penetrating hit. That's a 2, so that's something different. I'm going to have to read. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't think it's not an explosion. 4+ it would be a gold ban. 1 is stunned. 2 is immobilized, so he can't move anywhere. If it gets immobilized again, the crew jumps out and it's considered knocked out. You also roll for turret jam. So on a 4, 5 or 6, the turret will stay locked. No, turret's fine for the. It is immobilized. So he takes a pin. Now, something I've just realised, when I moved this squad off the down the hill into the, I didn't check to see if they were past their morale to do so. So I'll quickly do that now. They're fine, that's a 6. So they lose that pin. Right. So it's immobilised it. I think also it can't do it. It's like stunned as well, I think. I'll double check. Can you shoot back? Add 1 additional pin marker, so he gets hit and then it's 1 additional pin marker. If the vehicle has already taken an action, turn the order diver down. It hasn't yet. Right, so it can still draw a dice and have a shot. We'll have a -2 morale check to that. It doesn't say he has to draw a dice and go down, only if he's already drawn a dice, which is interesting. Ready. Another Russian. We'll go for the seemingly obligatory closest. My camera stopped recording there for some reason, sorry. So let's have another assault. Still got 10 men. So it's 10 attacks, maybe 4, 5s or 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 this time. So a 5 is a glancing hit, a 6 is a penetrating hit. You got a 3, so that's nothing. So they haven't done any damage at all to that tank, and it doesn't get a pin either. It's still on 2 pins, but it can draw a dice, pass its morale check, reverse, take a shot at the T-34 with the main gun, or hose these down with 2 MGs, which it might do. We'll see, we'll see. Tanks can assault the infantry, I believe, and cause tank shock or something. Or is that an old version of 40k? I think I'm a bit confused. I'll look it up if needs be. I don't think I'll do it though. Like I say, I'll finish them off with MG for you. Speaking of MG, right, the mortar will take a pop shot. Gonna have a shot. 12 inches is there. Anywhere between 12 and 24 you can shoot. So if it goes a little bit further, yeah, you can hit a couple of gouges back there. We'll say 2. We'll see if he hits first. Needs a 6 to hit. Gets a 5, unlucky. I'll leave the 5 there just in case they don't move and they have another shot next turn. Mortars can be effective. Not so much light mortars to German dice. I think it's Puma time, we'll see. Should we go Puma or Panzer? We'll go Panzer actually. I'm just going to give him a fire order, but he needs to pass that morale check. Obviously veteran, 10 down to 8. He needs 8 on the dice. He's got a 7. He's passed that. He's got -1 still, which does affect the shooting. It also gives him -1 to shooting. So he's going to shoot his main gun at the T-34 side armour. Maybe I should have turned that T-34. And then one of his MGs into this squad here. Point blank range as well, so he'll get +1 to hit for that. But he's at over half range for the T-34. So it's a 3, up to a 4 for the pin, up to a 5 for the range. So he needs a 5 to hit. No, he only rolls a 3 for the main gun. And his MMG is 6 shots because he's German. 6 shots because he's German, needing 2s to hit. And they've all hit. So, inexperienced, their save throw is a 5+. So, 4th save, that's quite good. They've lost 2. They take a pin. Because they've lost, they should have tested earlier on actually when they were in the woods, sorry. They've lost casualties to shooting, so they'll take a morale check at the end of the turn. So what I'll do is I'll leave 2 dice next to them to remind me. Oh, I'll fucking forget. Alright. The Panzer killed a couple of Jerrys. Going to do exactly the same with the Puma now. I'm going to try and pass the morale check and then shoot at the tank. And the MMJ will shoot at the... Well, the MMJ can shoot at this squad in the cover actually. It's only light cover for that team now. Let's see if he can pass his morale. 10 down to 8. No, he's rolled an 11. Now, if he'd rolled a natural 12, you don't add the 2 on to make it up to 13. But if I'd rolled a natural 12, he would have foobarred there. And there's a possibility that he just charges forward, or he shoots at the nearest friendly unit, which would be this squad here. But, as I say, he didn't. He rolled an 11. So he's failed that order. And he simply goes down. He's left him open to an attack for next turn. Russian dice. Like I said, this squad can be seen and can shoot. So I'm going to open up with the machine gun on them. 5 shots for a Russian medium machine gun. half range is 18. Oh, they're just out of half range, so it's +1 to hit. So that's 3s up to 4s. They're in light cover, so that's 5s to hit. So 5 shots needing 5s. And that's alright, 2, one of which is a 6. So casualties they take, veterans, so it's 3 ups. They're both saved. We'll double check actually, because if I remember rightly, medium machine guns are +1. No, it's not. Like heavy machine guns are +1 to the pen rolls, which means it will be +1 to the saving throw, but it's not. It's heavy machine guns I'm thinking of, and that's a medium. So no casualties caused, but they did hit them, which means they've pinned them. Another Russian dice. Right, now ski. The postman dog's gonna growl. Or the weed more, one of the two. We've got 7 minutes left on me. On me viewing capability before I have to upload it onto the internet. So I'll quickly do this. These are going to charge. Oh no, they're going to charge the Puma. Now they don't have any pins now. They passed that last turn to move. So I'm just going to move these in. The Puma can't shoot back because he's down. And he didn't move, well, he moved last turn. He hasn't moved this turn because he opted to just shoot, didn't he? So these, one, two, three, 4. Yeah. So there's 10 of them, just like we've been doing over here. 10 tacks hitting on 4, 5s or 6s because the Puma didn't move this turn. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, which isn't too bad because the armor is an 8 for them, for Puma. So 5 plus 4 is 9, that's a penetrating hit. Another penetrating hit. And that's a 4, that's a destroyed vehicle. I do believe, I will double check. Knocked out, vehicles is destroyed, becomes a wreck. It doesn't blow up and kill anyone nearby, it's just kaput. We'll take the dice, 2-0 to the Russians. Anyway. That's how you do it. Right. Right, I'm going to pause it here so I can upload this on YouTube. So, that little action over. We'll move on. Next dice, not many dice left. Well, actually, I was halfway through actually, yeah. Germans. What have the Germans got left? The commander, the observer, who are very much in the process of hiding. Right. Yeah. Okay. So just tilt this switch sideways for the next bit. The squad that's in the trees, I'm going to get them to charge the inexperienced squad and try and save that Panzer for. It'll be a run order, but they will need to pass a test. They've got a pin. So I will here for the test. That's fine to 6. They pass that, they lose the pin. Run order. Let's place it over and move them in. They're definitely within 12. Like I said before, these don't need to be touching each other for close combat, or it's not like 40k. I think it says something in the rules like, you know, squad mates who are close by, you know, lending, you know, short range fire support and stuff like that represent that. So now the inexperienced squad are out in the open, so they're not in rough ground, which means that the Germans will fight first in this case, and then if there are any Russian survivors, because it's veterans against inexperienced, and yeah, we'll see if the Russians manage to fight back at all, really. How many Russians are left? I think there's only 8, isn't there? 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 Russians are left. Well, I left one in the woods somewhere, maybe. I thought they'd only taken 4 casualties, but perhaps not. How many Germans? Oh no. Yes, 7. Oh no, there's 8 Russians, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a full squad of Germans. There should only be 10 Germans in each squad, but there's 11 in this squad for some reason. I believe. I will double check my army lists. Yeah, 10-man squads. I wonder how many win in that other squad. Not that matters much, but ready. So the Germans are all first, and there are 10 of them. The sergeant has a submachine gun, so he gets 2 dice. He also has tough fighters because of that submachine gun. So I'll roll his attacks separately. So these kill on 3, 4, 5. 3 plus. That's 2 kills. Tough fighters means you can re-roll these. So he's killed 4 altogether. Interesting. And the other 9 chops. That's 4 casualties. That's wiped out. That's a cock dice, but yeah, that's the Russian inexperienced squad. Biting off a little more than they could chew. Really. Looking at casualties over here, the Russians have only lost 4 men from it. Oh yeah, I found them, didn't I? Does anybody else wish one to themselves over the war game? To tell the truth, I don't usually play solo games, and when I do, there's a camera out, so I'll make that my excuse for talking to myself. And the dice makes it 2-1 to Russian. The Soviets. So the infantry squad saved that tank. They are kind of in the open now as well. But most things have shot and moved. for the Russians this turn. So with that in mind, next dice, Russian. There's the infantry squad which won its close combat last turn. What will they do? Will they go hunting? They will go hunting. Will they? No, I'll have them go down in that terrain for now. If they do come out of this terrain, because that's rough going, it would only be a half move, so the pollies wouldn't get to this tree line here, which means they'll be opened up with machine gun fire from the Panzer and maybe even that squad of infantry, and they are down to 5 men as well, so that could be a fairly easy dice, although they are elite. They are veterans, sorry, not elite. So they would have quite good saves, but yeah, they'll just go down. In fact, looking at the table, there's only the HQ units left for both sides. So there should be 2 dice left each, I think. Yeah. And they're all going to go down, all those 4. So let's return dice to the back. Missing a Russian dice as usual. That's right in front of me as usual. There we go. Yeah, there's 7 Russian dice and 4 German dice left. And this is turn 5. With the Germans killing the inexperienced squad, brings them right back into the game, and it frees up that tank. Plus, there's a little tiny mortar team right in front of them, and if they can knock them out, they've tied the game. Yeah. Despite losing armour car and the big infantry squad, they're still in the game. Now the tank, the T-34, as you can see, has an infantry squad in between it and its target. Now that would give them give the tank light cover, I believe, in the rules. Or at least that's how we've played it in the past. It doesn't matter how many squads, you don't add up cover bonuses. So what shall I do? It's been a very close combat kind of game, this. Not been a great deal of good shooting. The tanks have basically stunned each other, or even when they've been attacked, they've been stunned. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to now, if I open up with this machine gun against that squad, I would give that squad light cover for the... It's not a massive hill, but it is obscuring most of the figures. Not totally obscuring, but you know what I mean. Tactically, really should pull... Yeah. I'm going to pull the mortar squad back into the woods, or even back behind the woods so they can't get shot. To run for them. So it saved them from getting assaulted or even just shot to death by that German infantry squad there. Denied the Germans an easy point. It's the aim of the game, really. Russians again. Right. Going to open fire with this squad against the Germans. Now, line of sight wise, that hill doesn't block all that many of the Germans, so it will be open ground. Fire order. That squad doesn't have any casualties, does it? The 2 LMGs. Now the LMGs are 4 dice each for the Russians, so I might do those first. The range of the LMG is 36, so if they're within half range, I believe they might be, they are, and they're within 12, they're not within 12, so the rifles will be at long range, so they'll be +1 to hit, but the LMGs aren't at long range, so that's not +1. You don't have any pins, so yeah, veterans, well, not that that matters with shooting much, but I think inexperienced squads are -1 for shooting, but alas, they're not alive anymore. Straight up 3, so that's 2 misses, so that's 6 hit. I'll have to remember that. So that's 6 hits. Now there are, the sergeant has a rifle, and there are 7 infantry. 2 of those infantry are loaders, so that means only 5 can shoot, and the sergeant is another 6 shots, and these are hitting on 4s because they are long range or over half range, which is another 2, so that's 8 hits altogether. Now on the rules, before I rolled those dice, the German player would have been able to go down with his troops. It means pulling the dice out of the bag, giving them a down order, and that is effectively putting them into hard cover. So that would be -2. Sorry, that would halve the shots, half the hits. Sorry. So this 8 will be 4 hits. I believe that's all. I can't remember rightly. But anyway, yes. So they save on 3s because they are veterans. So that's 1 casualty, and of course a pin for being hit in the first place. And 1 Gadji dead. This is the new Gadji squad now. The others dead. And that is that resolved. Another Russian. Right. I will put the medium machine gun into ambush in case that squad decides to run over that hill towards these woods. Puts that machine gun in a decent position to open fire on them fully in the open and less than half range. So yeah. Another Russian. There are German dice in there. I did put them in there. Honestly, Gav. Right. It's going to be a tricky shot, obviously, but the T-34 will open fire. Actually, that reminds me, earlier on where I was talking about the coaxial machine gun being able to shoot at the infantry. Now, it didn't kill any of the infantry, so it was fine, you know what I mean? However, didn't cause any pins either. A coaxial gun means you can either shoot the main gun or the coaxial gun. You can't shoot them together. You can shoot a gun that's in the turret, so either coaxial machine gun or the main armament, and a hull mounted gun. So for instance, the Panzer IV and the T-34 have hull mounted machine guns and a main gun on the turret. The Puma didn't. So I made a foobar there, I made a mistake. So yeah, it reminds me. Yeah. Now the T-34, does it have a, looking on the model, let me just check the rules. It does have a forward facing hull mounted. No, nothing's, no. His medium machine gun won't, nothing's in the arc of fire for him. Everything else in cover and whatnot. Oh, crap on it. I've forgotten the artillery barrage, haven't I? Right. Well, it's not going to affect, it may have affected that squad there. Right. But it's not going to affect this shot. So the T-34 is going to have a shot at the Panzer. Panzer has light cover now because of the intervening infantry. So that will be a 4 to hit. It's over 8, less than half range. So that's a hit. On the side armour, armour of the tank is 9 down to 8. It's a heavy anti-tank gun, so that's +6. So whatever this is, +6. It's 4 +6 is 10. So that beats the armour of the tank. It's a penetrating hit. Does it do anything? It's a 5. It's a destroyed Panzer IV. Wow. Boom. Chakalaka. Don't know where that came from. And I'll finally get to see German dice because I have to pull one out now for that kill. Makes it 3-1 to the Russians. Right, let's resolve the artillery, shall we? Which we should have done about 10 minutes ago. Does it come in? What happens? It's a 4, fire for effect. 4, 5 or 6 it comes in. So it's D6 plus 6 inches. I'll double check this. The area around the aiming point is plastered with heavy shells. D6 plus 6 inches of the aiming point. So that's the aiming point. We can see how many inches? 2. So that's the 8 inches. So I don't think that's going to hit the Russian squad. But it will hit both the... No, it's not going to hit anything else other than the German senior lieutenant or lieutenant and the observer team. So on a 1 to 5 they take a certain amount of pin markers. On a 6 they get absolutely blasted by artillery. So the lieutenant, it's a 5 pins. Observer 6. Oh, that probably kills them because it's classed as a heavy howitzer, I do believe. Right, so D3 pin markers for the lieutenant. So that's 2. And the 4-inch template, so that's definitely going to hit both of those. So anything, yeah, weird noises going on in the house. Yeah, anything but ones, I think, will. Yeah, they're both dead. Both dead. It's got a pen value of +4 as well, so that will kill them outright. And he has another. He has another 2 pins, so that's three pins for him. Now there are noises going on. Can you hear them, Doug? On the stairs. I don't know if you can hear them on the camera. The dog's reacting to them. You'll hear him growl. Bit of ghost hunting there. That's a car outside, I do believe. It's quite late at night, so there shouldn't be noises on my stairs. Right. So, well, that's another German unit destroyed. So we'll take another German dice out. That's 4-1. Oh, and I forgot the Russians rule where you roll 2 dice for the distance covered and you choose the highest. So 5 would have been 11. Would that reach anyone else? No. Right. The Russians well and truly in the driving seat here. I knew you said diving seat, whatever the hell on earth. What do the Germans have left in reality? They've got one large squad with 1 pin. The commander has 3 pins on him and he's on his own. I think I'm going to call it at this point. It's 4-1 to the Russians. Or halfway through turn 5, and the Germans, like I said, they've got 1 effective squad against most of the Russian force. They could charge forward to get hit by the machine gun. They could retreat into the woods, but they'd only get hit by other stuff, and the Russians have a lot of infantry over this side, and yeah, I'm going to call it there. It's a canny game. I'm bound to have got lots of stuff wrong. I know I've got bits and pieces wrong. I've been videoing this in small increments so I can upload them onto YouTube a bit at a time and then make a bigger video. So this will probably be like 3 hours long in total at the end, but it's taken like 3 days to film as well because I've had a lot of other stuff to do here and there. But yeah, Bolt Action. If you've never played it, I highly suggest you find someone who plays and get a game with them. It's entertaining. It's a little bit random now and again, and you've seen how much I enjoy charging with units. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, that inexperienced squad, how many times did it sun that tank? Should have killed it, but alas, in the end the T-34 took it out. And yeah, I'm chuffed with that. Don't know how many more games I'm going to get in this room because I've got to move soon. So, been looking at places and rooms a little bit smaller. So, yeah, we'll see. But anyway, if you watch this, then thanks and ciao for now.